The TB12 Method by Tom Brady. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also with ranking and SEO and all this other stuff, and I really appreciate it because so much work goes into making these videos. You'd be surprised. A lot of work really goes into making these videos. I don't have the best feeling about this review. This book is one of those books that, I got plenty of insights out of. I mean, dude. It's Tom Brady. When's the last time I reviewed a book from like a world-class athlete? Like there's gotta be some total gems in this, and there are. And I know, Sam, we get it. It's a valuable book. So why do you feel bad about the review? What's the catch? Well, there are a few things I found that seriously damaged my listening experience. These may not seem like a lot to you guys, or anyone else, but to me, they're huge. It usually like kills a book. For me, it's really hard to really get everything I feel I need to out of the book when this is a thing. And if you have seen some of my more negative reviews of books that I gave, similar, synopses, that's a good word, synopses of strengths and weaknesses, it usually has to do with unique concepts and ideas that the author brings to the table. And Tom Brady does a great job at this, in my opinion. But the author will typically have a series of right hook sales pitch bits throughout the book, and it can be very distracting. I don't think upsells belong in books. I really don't. Especially in the digital age. Maybe this is me just as a reviewer, but I like a book when it's just a book and nothing more. Maybe one or two parts mentioning another book of yours that you wrote in the past, especially for reference reasons. Me personally, just so I try to practice what I preach, I don't mention specific other reviews unless I find it very relevant to the topic at hand. But this is a book review, not a philosophy review, so let's talk about it. There's a major idea Brady stresses in this whole work called muscle pliability. And I love it when an author tells the story of not just how it's affected their life over the years, but how it can affect yours and mine, and why they think everyone should have it. And I learned that he co-founded a research center with the guy who kind of introduced him to it. So I think he's really trying to prove it, that it's not just about money, it's not just about this whole sales pitch thing, but it's about proving what we can do, what he can do, and maybe even more. But even if we don't, we can still improve our lives. You can literally feel better about yourself probably in literally less than a day if you do even a couple things from the TB12 method. And here are the 12 things. He talks about each one thoroughly in the book, especially after he very briefly summarizes each one. 1. Pliability is the missing leg of performance training. 2. Is holistic and integrated training. 3. Is balance and moderation in all things. 4. Is conditioning for endurance and vitality. 5 is no-load strength training. 6 is promote anti-inflammatory responses in your body. By the way, I have no idea what a lot of this means, to be super frank with you guys. This is not a normal type of book that I review. Health is probably the least of my knowledgeable subjects that I've kind of delved into. 7 is promote rich oxygen and blood flow. 8 is proper hydration, and 9 is healthy nutrition. 10 is supplementation. Brain exercises is 11, and 12 is brain rests, recentering, and recovery. He doesn't really talk all that much about each one, but he does have this crazy dive into the whole river of the whole method from, I don't even know if it's in the same order, but it's really entertaining, actually. He's just obsessed with pliability. It's weird because this is the biggest thing that prevents football players and so many athletes and so many people from physical longevity, like vitality. And if you're told to jump and run, if you're less than 25 years old even, and you're told to jump and run and bench 400 pounds and spend more time in the gym and just go and go and go, and you don't feel good all the time aside from when you're doing that, and it feels like everything hurts as time goes by even more, that's a really, really bad thing. And I know what that's like. I was in renovations for 3 years. I left maybe a couple weeks ago. My back still hurts a ton, and I'm 22. And Tom Brady definitely knows what that's like. He talks about it a little in the beginning of the book. And there's a big I don't know, it kind of came off as comical compared to the rest of the book, but honestly, it's more than true. And his bias against it makes plenty of sense, not just because he's a football player, but because he's a human. It's about food and why it's important to eat natural food and not what he calls the chemical experiments when he describes the whole salt, sugar, fat thing. Where it's all about, you know, it's kind of sad, but to not eat the chemical experiments like Cheetos or tasty cakes. It's about reducing inflammation. And there are so many little tips and big tips, I guess, in the book for keeping higher muscle pliability, lower inflammation, and basically everything that can optimize your long-term health. By the way, for anyone who's like, he just said that like, there's a huge problem he has with this book, but he just said like a million things that he really liked about it. Keep watching till the end of the review, okay? But aside from that, there are lots of solo exercises that he goes over individually for holistic, the integrated training. He describes each one, he tells you what equipment to use, how long to do it for, and a lot of it is really just stretching. Like, it's probably not nearly as hard as all the hard work and the bench pressing and the working out, the jumping and running and all that other stuff. But you know, it is hard work to maintain. Investing in like a coaching or something at like the TB12 Research Center, maybe since he wrote this book there's more than one, but buying, you know, electrolytes that are, he says, the best in their research. It's something I would only consider if I were trying to become a professional football player. Maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe there's a good amount of stuff in the book for literally anyone. But I mean, maybe it's because I haven't tried it. I don't know. But what I do know is that there are so many people who look up to Tom Brady and know so much more about topics like this than I do. Like muscle pliability and hydration and supplementation, but literally just having listened to a book like this, you never know who you'll come across whose favorite book is the TB12 Method. So I don't know, I loved the insights that he brought to the table, and really the approach of, I wish I started doing this like decades ago, because like so many younger athletes are like quietly suffering and they're listening to their coaches because the coach thinks that the best thing for their long-term performance is simply doing what the coach says. But in reality, I'm starting to learn that health is kind of like business. If you want to do well long-term, you need to understand and apply disciplines and principles of sustained peak performance so you can actually do even better as you age. Quotes: "Youth is wasted on the young. Too much of a bad thing is bad for you, but too much of a good thing isn't a good thing either. The only place where success comes before work is the dictionary. Just because you're at a buffet, that doesn't mean you're supposed to eat everything. You can make life a lot harder for yourself by focusing on negative things in your path or making excuses for why things didn't go your way." Direction 1. I recommend this book if you are an athlete and or if you play football. I mean, if you play football, you are an athlete, but I really only recommend it if you have the self-discipline to kind of dodge the self-advertising thing. But maybe if that would bother you. I mean, if you're not an athlete, I'm pretty sure it would be way more likely to bother than you than if you were an athlete. Okay, here's the way I look at it. Here's a mini rant for you guys on self-advertising in a book. Google and YouTube and Spotify and Pandora and so many apps and sites, they are free. They are free for your use. But the thing is, the only reason they're free is that to sustain their growth and optimization, I know this is only one way to monetize app development, but they actually have to host advertising so that somebody else is paying them. And that's important because they need to invest in better customer experiences, better training for their staff so they can invest their time in better customer experience, better research and everything. And they cannot do that as long as you use them unless they are being paid either by you or the companies that are advertising using them as platforms. So that's my lens of looking at it. I think that is the most fair way to do things, the most balanced right now, at least in the digital age. And I don't know, it just bothers me, I guess, when we buy something for educational purposes and then they try to upsell us. If you maybe want to pitch us at the end of the book instead of throwing this or that at us at different points. Like, yes, let's say it's contextual, but even then, the biggest problem I have with this is that there are no companies or anything I notice he publicly endorsed throughout the book, other than the TB12 Research Center. He doesn't mention anyone else. And that's the other thing that really bothered me about it, despite what I was just talking about. Like, I'm sorry, Thomas, but there's gotta be someone who does stuff that you recommend in this book that you guys can't, just because it's the TB12 method. That really means that other products and companies can't be outsourced somewhere in here, and you have no direction that you can point us in regarding those companies or regarding those recommended activities or anything like that. Direction 2. If you like this book, I recommend checking out. I mean, health books aren't really something I really am super well versed in. I don't think I even have any fitness books other than this one. But after I get done reviewing the slew of books I still have left to review on my plate now, there are probably like maybe 100 more. I'll be diving into subjects, many books at a time, so I can focus on them instead of just jumping from one thing to another like I was when I was getting these books in chronological order, and now I'm going backward on them. The TB12 Method by Tom Brady. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video as well. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't know why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. I also don't know why someone's calling me in Oklahoma right now. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.